I need you to put something down and listen to me. Whatever's in your hand right now, the phone, the coffee, the to-do list, set it down just for a few minutes. That thing you're working so hard for, the raise, the title, the bigger house, the proof that you finally made it, it is not going to love you back. I'm sorry, it just isn't. My name is Margaret. I'm 80 years old, and I spent almost 50 years chasing a life that looked from the outside exactly like winning corner office. My name on the letterhead in gold, I was one of the first women in my firm to ever make partner, and I would hand every bit of it back for one ordinary Tuesday night I gave away without even noticing. So sit with me a minute. Don't scroll. Just sit here with an old woman who got it wrong. Because what took me a whole lifetime and a daughter to understand, I can put in your hands in the next 10 minutes. And maybe you'll get back the years I threw away. I want to tell you where this started because I wasn't born wanting an office. I was born in 1946 in a small house with thin walls, and every Friday of my childhood, my mother sat at the kitchen table and waited for my father to count out the housekeeping money, bill by bill, into her open hand. And if she needed more for my school shoes for the doctor, she had to explain herself, justify it, ask twice. I watched my mother get a little smaller every Friday of my life, and I decided I was maybe 9 years old, sitting on those stairs watching. I decided I would never hold my hand out to anybody, ever. I would have my own money, my own name, my own door with my own key in it. Nobody was ever going to make me small. So there it is. You hear me? That's the engine of the whole thing. That's the wound. I wasn't chasing money. I was running from a kitchen table and run. I did 60 hours a week, then 70. I had my daughter late. I was 40, and everyone said it would never happen. Emily, she was the best thing I ever did, and I treated her like an appointment I kept meaning to reschedule. She had a dance recital when she was 6, and I had a closing that couldn't move. That's what I told myself, that it couldn't move. Everything can move, honey. I know that now, but I chose the closing, and I told myself I'd catch the next one. I'll make it up next year. I said that sentence so many times it stopped being a sentence and turned into a lullaby. I sang to myself, I'll make it up next year, next year, next year. A whole decade went by on next year. I missed the recital. I missed the spelling bee. I missed the school play where she was a tree in the back row. She didn't even have a line, and I missed it. I missed the homework at the kitchen counter, the scraped knees, the bad dreams. I missed the tucking in. I missed everything, every single one. And then one day, and this is the part that haunts me because I couldn't tell you the date if my life depended on it, she stopped asking. She stopped saying, Mommy, come watch. She stopped leaving the hall light on for me. She just stopped inviting me. Because a child can only hear, not tonight, sweetheart, so many times before she quietly decides to stop asking. And God forgive me, I was relieved because it was easier. Now let me tell you something I've never said out loud to anybody. I made partner the same year my daughter stopped asking me to tuck her in. The exact same year. They threw me a dinner. There were speeches. My name went up on the wall of that firm in gold letters. I had done it, the precise thing that little 9-year-old girl on the stairs had sworn she would do. Nobody would ever make me small again. And I drove home that night, the most successful I had ever been in my life. I walked into a dark, quiet house. Emily was already asleep. She was 8 now. She didn't wait up for me anymore. And I stood in the front hallway in my good coat, holding my award in both hands. And I felt nothing. No, that's a lie. I felt afraid because I had finally reached the top of the mountain I've been climbing my entire life. And there was nobody up there, just me and a plaque. And it would take me another 20 years to understand what that emptiness was trying to tell me. 20 years. Here's the thing about a habit like mine. It doesn't stay in one room of your life. It gets into all of them. I did the exact same thing to my husband, Jim, good man, patient man. He used to ask me quietly, no anger in it, Margaret, when does the case end? When do we start? And I'd say, when I make partner. Then it was when I make senior partner. Then it was when I retire. Jim spent 30 years sitting in the waiting room of my life. He passed at 71, and I sat at his funeral and understood that I had loved a man I never once sat still with. I provided for him. I never got to him. Same lesson, different room. Now I want you to meet my friend Ruth. She's 82. And Ruth worked too, mind you, nurse. 35 years. Hard as anything I ever did, harder. But you go to Ruth's house on a Sunday. You cannot hear yourself think. Children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Somebody's always crying. Somebody's always laughing. There is always too much food. And for years, I'm ashamed of this. I told myself Ruth just got lucky. Easy kids, easy life. No, I watched her more carefully as I got older. Ruth left that hospital at 3:30 every single day that she could. Ruth missed shifts for recitals and took the write-up on the chin. Ruth chose the small, boring, ordinary Tuesday thing 1,000 times over, while I chose the office every time. It was never luck. It was 1,000 quiet choices. She made hers, I made mine. Her Sundays are loud, mine are quiet. And that right there is the whole difference. So here's what it took me. 80 years to finally understand, and I'm a slow learner, clearly. I thought providing was loving. I truly did. I thought if I kept her safe and fed and paid for the very best of everything, that was love. The highest kind of love even, because it was the love I never got at that kitchen table. But a child does not spell love with a checkbook. She never needed what I could buy her. She needed me to show up. That's all it was. That's all it ever was. Just be in the room, put the work down, and be in the room all the way with your whole self. Providing was never the same thing as loving. I just needed it to be so I could keep working and not have to feel the difference. Emily's 40 now, and she's wonderful. She is kind and sharp and successful. She calls me on Sundays, but she calls the way you call somebody you're fond of, not somebody you need. There's a politeness in it, a little pane of glass between us that I put there, one missed recital at a time. And here's the part that brings me to my knees. She's the same way with her own children now. Loving, but from a careful little distance. Always half somewhere else. She learned that from me. I taught it to her without ever saying one word. I taught her that this is simply how a mother loves from far away while she's busy with something more important. That's my real inheritance to her. Not the money, the distance. So now let me talk to you. Yes, you, the one with the phone in your other hand this very second. The one telling yourself this season is just temporary. You'll be present after things settle down. Things do not settle down, my love, I promise you. There is always another closing. There is always a next year, I know, because I lived on next year until I simply ran out of them. So hear me, please. The years do not come back. I would give away everything I ever earned for one more chance to sit in a dark auditorium and watch my little girl play a tree with no lines. But you still have time that I don't. You still have a phone that works. You still right now have a small person somewhere who's leaving a light on for you. Don't make them stop. Don't make them stop. So here's what I want you to do tonight. Close the laptop. Go and find them. Sit on the edge of the bed. Tuck them in, slow, no rushing, no one eye on the door. And if they're grown and gone, then you call them tonight, not Sunday tonight. And you don't fix anything, and you don't explain anything. You just listen. That's the whole assignment. Because you're choosing right now, you're always choosing. And if you're choosing tonight, choose the tucking in. If you know somebody out there grinding themselves down to nothing, somebody who's always at the office, always one more year away from being present, send this to them. Don't add a word. Just send it. And tell me down below in the comments, what's the moment you almost missed or the one you already did? I read them. I read every single one. And if you'd like to sit with me again, it's just me here every week, an old woman, and the things she learned a little too late. Come follow along. I'd be grateful for the company. You're not too late, not yet. Go on now. They're waiting.